Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey, hopefully you guys could hear us. We're experiencing lots of technical issues. Of course, this is how Take on the World always starts, always finishes. So, hey, guys,
It's
how
a
are you guys doing
tradition.
tonight? Hey, we got Nate Wolf, we got Michael Solomon, we got Chad Schaefer, and we've got Nathan Reynolds in the house. How you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Doing
Great.
great.
Superb. Excited.
Awesome. Well, hey, I'm so glad we got this thing to work out. And hold on one second. We need to turn the volume down.
Don't mind the gunfire.
Yeah. So hey guys, everybody out there, man, we are so excited. Take on the World 2020 is going down. It's happening. We're streaming from the phone now because the laptop is not working. Somehow it's still getting the stream through together because we're the host. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to bring on just a handful of our favorite people, and there's so many. Everybody who's been part of Take on the World, you guys are our favorite people. But we want to give these guys a little bit of a chance, as well as us, to give us our top. Since now we've only got less than 20 minutes, we're going to go through our top Take on the World conference moments. I want you guys to give us one on stage and one off stage moment that you guys shared, because all this is going to lead up to next year, Take on the World 2020, when we're back live.
2021.
2021. I'm sorry. We are so flustered tonight.
He's so stuck in this
Yes.
awful year.
Yeah. And big shout out to Tony Stover, the sign that made us all the way from 2017. My shirt, which was made
Handmade.
which was made 2017 as
Yeah.
well, is making its appearance again. So let's go ahead and get this show started. Let's go ahead and start at the very top with the man who is famously known for getting fired for coming to our conference. That is Mr. Nate Wolf. So give us one on-stage favorite moment and one off-stage favorite moment.
Well, hands down, it has to be speaking at Take on the World 2019, a year after having been fired. And, my wife's prophecy that she gave in the car in 2018 is we're getting ready to pull out of the parking lot off the grass, and we had no idea what hit us, but we knew something exciting and big was supposed to happen, and we started praying. And my wife says, "You'll be speaking here next year." And I just looked at her like, "What? You're crazy. Like, nobody knows me. Like, what would I talk about?" She's like, "I just feel it that you're going to be here speaking." And then a year later, there I was on stage, just sharing all the events that had happened in 2018 and spilled over through that year, and new ministries begun, and it was just powerful, and everybody there was so encouraging. And when I finished off, it was just everybody was clapping and yelling, and it just, I don't know, it just felt really good. And when I got off the stage, my favorite off stage is where all my family was lined up on one of the chair rows there, and I hadn't really planned on doing it, but I just decided to go over and start hugging on them. So kind of we had the wolf pack huddle and bunch of hugs and stuff. Of course, then everybody was crying. But that had to be my top moment, because it was such a faith building thing for my kids, like and my wife too, but after everything that my kids had seen, and then to see the Father turn everything around in a way that we never imagined. I mean, it was so faith building for them. That was definitely the best moment.
Yeah, that was, when I was going through my top five, that moment made one of my top five moments. Just
Sweet.
Being part of it, I was crying along with everybody secretly. I think I was in one of the front rows. So which I don't make a lot of front row appearances, but I was sitting in the front row. Either if it's George Moss or it was Nate Wolf doing his first presentation, because normally I'm meandering in the back, but I was there, and man, I was so choked up. I was trying to look cool on the side while I couldn't breathe. So that was one of my top five moments as well. So hey, next up is Michael Solomon, who started out at Take on the World 17, photographer, just hanging out in the back, to becoming part of Flat Out Insights, and then being a speaker for the last 2 years, and becoming a dear friend to Take on the World TV and us. So Michael, give us your top on stage moment, whether it was yours or something you've seen from somebody else, and definitely your top off the stage moment.
Top on stage by far would be presenting to everyone.
Well, we're having a hard time hearing you, Michael.
Oh, you are? Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can't hear. Okay.
Can you
We
hear
all
me
can
now?
hear him.
We can't hear him.
Okay, you guys can hear him, but we can't hear him. Okay.
Oh,
Keep going, Michael.
okay.
Sorry.
My favorite on stage
You guys can hear, but we can't hear.
was presenting, because I worked really hard on the presentations. My favorite on stage, and so I really like the involvement of the audience, and it was just a surreal moment, because I spent so much time talking about stuff like that, but to actually present it was really awesome for me. It was a great experience. Off stage, I guess, would be the breakouts. It was really fascinating to hear the other speakers and to be a part of one of those breakouts as well, and to meet so many of them that I've listened and learned from, and to actually meet them there was fascinating.
Well,
Awesome.
while he's struggling with his sound, I'll go ahead and go on with mine, because I think I'm next if we're going across the top. So my favorite speaking session on stage would have, of course, had to have been talking about prayer and being real with God at last year's conference. It was just so Holy Spirit driven. I mean, when you rehearse and you do slides and your presentations and everything, of course, the Holy Spirit's with you to put them together if you've been praying and through it. And I had been for years. So I knew those were the Lord's will, but in the moment, just feeling the power of the Holy Spirit in your words and seeing people being moved by those words as they were spoken was just, I mean, it felt like a blanket of power, just going out and seeing people's lives change right before my eyes on stage was bar none the best experience on stage that I could have ever had or experienced. Now, privately, it's very hard to pick just one time that would be the best private moment. The times at the fire at night, at the end of the day before we were going to bed, those were all just, it was fun after a day of giving your energy to just relax and laugh. I mean, we laughed and laughed and laughed a lot. I guess the most personal, best experiences would have been the baptisms and being able to last year, people asking to be baptized and being able to participate in those moments. But I guess the one memory that sticks out to me the most, as far as just something that the first time I really connected on a personal level with outside of the people I hadn't come to know really that well, would have been sitting there at lunch with Corinna and Karen. And this wasn't last year, but it was I think it was the year before, the first year at the lake. We were just having lunch, and I kind of knew Karen just from chats and everything, but I hadn't known Corinna that well, also through chats as well. But to meet them one-on-one and get to know them really hadn't happened. But there they were, and they invited me to sit down. So I sat down, and I just remember having such a blast and such a good time just talking and laughing with those ladies there. It was just phenomenal. I mean, we were instant brothers and sisters, or brother and sisters, and it was like I'd known them my whole life, and they were instant family. And that was a moment that really stuck out at me. I mean, they were laughing. They got to laughing so hard. I mean, we were spitting food out of our mouths. We were putting napkins up for protection for flying food. And it was just an awesome time. Just from that moment forward, it was just instant connection, and moments that you chalk up and they can't be stolen from you. And so I really love that. I really love that.
Well, I'll just jump in then. First of all, if you guys have not seen Chad Schaefer's talk from 2019, I can't recommend it enough. Chad, do you want to just give the name of that talk, if you would? Do you remember the name of it specifically?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you what the name of the top or what I entitled it. But the heart of it was crying out to God and being real. Not being afraid to go before our Father and let out the things that are in our heart. That was the core of it.
And I last year I wasn't able to come, and someone though sent me Chad's video, and it brought me to tears, because that was the definition of the essence of someone who learned what it was to cry out authentically to their Father, to scream out an honest prayer. And it impacted me so powerfully. For the last year, it's been on my mind, and it comes up at different times and intervals. And to so much so that this year, when I was putting together my presentation, I had to grab portions of that talk to even try to articulate the things I was trying to express, because there's a lesson that is learned when someone screams, like when someone cries. A man cries out for his father, when a child cries out for their mother. And it's unintelligible to the rest of the world, but it's a dialect that is known to the parent. It's absolutely known. And I was so thankful that you preserved that. Thank you for doing that, Chad. I never really got to be there to thank you and give you a hug for that, and to just weep with you for that. But thank you for doing that. If there was any, most impactful moment for me off the stage, for me, it was actually getting to meet these people that had been impacting my life for years. I was a newcomer in many ways. Chris and Liz had given me an opportunity to speak at a conference for the first time in my life. I just published my book, Snatched from the Flames. I had one copy with me. They didn't get printed in time. And so I ended up showing up there with that one copy, and I would hand it to people to look at. And then they'd try to buy it, or I'd have to ask for it back. And it was not at all the way I pictured it going, and I was just had no idea what conferences were really going to be like as a speaker versus just as an attendee. I'd attended conferences before and had always been on the other side of the table. But you realize there's no real change to the person except for some kind of illusion that happens by standing on the other side of a table. But I got to meet people that, for me, had changed my life, like radically impacted my life. And one of them is now a speaker as well, Aaron Sampson and Ian Chadwick. These guys have become staples on Take on the World TV. But back then, a lot of there was kind of this other group of guys that were just starting out that didn't really have a foothold in any capacity. And yet I got to meet these guys that I'd got to talk to over the phone. Chad in person, that was the first time I got to meet him. Chris, for me, getting to see these people, to hug them, to look them in the eyes, to get to talk with them, to have lunch with Rob and Sheila Skiba, and to sit down with George Moss and to break bread with him and his family, to get to see his family, because I think there's so much of a testimony that's waiting when people get to see the fruits of our labor, the first fruits of our household, to see our children. It's a testimony all of itself. And I love the way that Take on the World had done that. The first night was this big pizza festival on the lake. It took hours for pizza to actually come out of this tiny little pizza stand. And there was these grumbling and complaining Israelites everywhere. And they were just whining about this slow manna that was slowly working its way out of this delicious bread oven. And you know what? It was the most panoramic setting I've ever seen in my life. There's more water than I could get my head around. I'm from the deserts of Colorado. There's no lakes like that. Our lakes are like literal pond scum to you Ohioans out there. And I was flabbergasted to get to stand there in line, sweating and enthused. And I loved it. It was wonderful for me to get to do that. But then to have an opportunity to actually get to share my testimony, to get on stage, to be in front of people who were interested and engaged and passionate and insightful and articulate, to be able to be welcomed into that environment was so powerful, because it arrested I think in many ways, it arrested my fear of sharing my story. It locked that away, and it cast that fear of men away from me. And I was so grateful to have people like Jeremiah Dirt be in the room and come up to me and be able to give me pointers on how to hold a microphone, because I'd never held that. I knew how to hold a grenade launcher, but nobody once was like, and this is how you hold a microphone. You know, it was just awesome. I got this just this eclectic group of people and this expertise in different fields. And one of the other people that was so impactful was a guy named Scott Bernella, who was a tree climber. And I sat down and I got to have lunch with him, and he melted my mind with stories about climbing towers of wood and falling out of them at times, and miraculous deliverance and healings in his life. And I was just blown away at it. And so there was just so much that grabbed a hold of me, and I loved every minute of it. Getting to baptize a dear friend in that giant body of water with Tom Dunn and Jared Cressman, and it was spectacular in so many ways. I wish dearly we could do it again this year, but I'm so eager that we have an opportunity to do it this way. So thank you, Chris and Liz, for your hard work, your dedication to this.
Well, yeah. Well,
You're the best storyteller.
yeah, that was great.
I could listen to you talk forever.
Well, guys, we are getting so close to tip off over at Celebrate Truth. So if you can see the link down at the bottom, it's youtube.com/celebrate truth/live. Big shout out to Robbie Davidson.
Yes.
Yeah, this is going to reach so many more people than we've ever had a chance. So I'm going to let you guys know how this is going to run real quick. Before me and Liv just share a couple of quick things before we let you guys go. This is going to run tonight at those specified times that you've seen on our schedule, but they're going to loop over and over again until the Thursday schedule starts. So if you've missed this, or if you're now catching this and you live in another country, you're going to be able to catch this conference running the whole entire time, even starting right now tonight, multiple times over. And also then following week, we're going to run it 24 hours a day for a solid week. So you're going to be able to see this. Everybody's videos are going to be seen multiple times. So before we let you go, Liz, why don't you give us your favorite moment, one favorite moment, Take on the World.
I've got to reduce it down to one.
One, give us two. Give us two quickly. Don't share too much because we don't have time.
Okay.
We want to get everybody over there.
Gosh, there's so many. And a lot has already been mentioned, because Nathan, your presentation was definitely
And
one
you
of
were in a
them.
suit, so
Yes.
you didn't.
Yes.
Hey, he brought a suit, guys. So Nathan rocked a suit in the middle of the summer.
I do have one.
Yeah,
Lean Flat, which was 2019.
2019.
Yes, with Isaac Chavez and Robbie Davidson with his dance. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, that was just the best.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Super special.
Yeah, so
Nobody expected it.
yeah, that was amazing. There was also a really favorite moment of mine when George Moss was performing on the last day of 2018, and Nikki, the Arbaugh's daughter, grabbed the mic and she finished the last part of Take on the World. If you haven't seen that, it's so amazing. And George absolutely loved every single second of that. That was one of my favorite moments. Maybe give some other things that you absolutely loved.
You mentioned the Midnight Ride.
Yeah,
having
the
the panels.
Yeah, the Midnight Ride panel, from the theme intro.
Aguilera.
Yes.
That's who Alan was, right? Rick Aguilera.
Yeah, Rick Aguilera. David Carrico called Alan Aguirre Rick Aguilera, and that was absolutely, it was so funny.
Today.
That was hilarious. And that was amazing. All the panel discussions were absolutely awesome. All the stages. If you guys haven't been part of Take on the World before, we ran so many stages. Nate Wolf made the Basement Brigade famous for the Flat Earth stage that Michael Solomon ran. So that was absolutely awesome to, all the other things. Oh, one of my other favorite ones was DR Lee. DR Lee, he was kind of nervous about his first presentation, didn't think anybody was going to show up to it. And DR was presenting on the upstairs stage, and it was set up for 100 people, and 100 people were in the seats, and there were like 20 people standing in the back to hear him. And he walks up, and he's in there, and he is sweating up a storm, and he is blown away. So you guys I love, and then the biggest thing is, we do this all for his glory, but you guys are the one that make it so special. All the people watching, all the attendees, you guys make those moments special for all of our speakers. You've welcomed everybody. All the new people who have spoken last year, David Arthur, Mike Spalding, you guys, were super generous to all those new speakers that we had. So you guys are the reason why we continue to do these things.
Absolutely.
And
And Michelle mentioned one of my other favorite moments too, having Becca Shea do the kickoff concert last year
that was
on
so
that
fun.
Thursday. That
Yeah.
was super special.
And big shout out again to Tony
Yes.
this year, Robbie Davidson, anybody who's put together a video. You guys
Yes.
have crushed it.
You guys are going to love some of the snippets we have thrown in there from our favorite Tony Stover.
Yeah, so
You're
there's
gonna
lots of
love
fun
it.
stuff. So guys, hey, we got 1 minute. Go jump over to Celebrate Truth. We're gonna sign off here. Everybody say goodbye. We'll see you guys. We're gonna do some live streams throughout the
We'll
conference.
see you in person in 2021.
Yeah.
Be there.
Live dangerously.
All right, guys,
Shalom.
Thank you guys
Be
so much
blessed.
for being
We'll
here
see you
tonight.
soon.
We're gonna end Celebrate Truth right
wanna-
now.
We're all going to talk at once, and we're going to talk over you until it goes out. That's
Go
because
live dangerously.
Everybody's supposed to be talking.
Go live dangerously.
Everybody talk
Go live
over
dangerously. Wear linen.
now as we're going out. Everybody just
Good night.
Bring big knives.
Shalom and
Bring big
blessings.
knives.
2021.
Bring big
live.
knives. Sapphire
blessing.
armor. It's going to be crazy. We're going to